So that's what a good third period looks like. The New York Islanders score 3 third period goals and come away with a big win over the Columbus Blue Jackets. We'll talk about that, a sale of 10% of the team, and we'll preview Saturday's game against the LA Kings. All that and more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome, everybody, to the Friday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you can get new episodes as soon as they drop. Wow, what a big win for the New York Islanders. They end up scoring 3 times in the third period and only gave up 1 goal. We will break down this big win for everybody. Final score 7-3 Islanders. But first, if there's something Islanders related on your mind, if you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, feel free to email us at lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we are happy to mention you on the show when we discuss whatever it is that's on your mind. You could also follow the show on X, formerly Twitter, at Locked On Isles, and you could follow me, Gil Martin, on Twitter at Ice Wars, NYR_VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders all season long, and I am live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game. So join me for some instant insight and analysis, and it's great to talk a little Isles hockey, game time or anytime. All right, Islanders 7. Blue Jackets 3, and what a relief this game was. And I know what you were thinking, because I was thinking this. Islanders up 4-2 after 40 minutes. And, Islander fans, everyone on social media, nervous. Oh no, we have the dreaded 2-goal lead heading into the third period. And then just a minute and 28 seconds into the third period, Columbus's Adam Fantilli scores, and it's a 1-goal game. And everybody is more than a little bit nervous at that moment. But then it's Mathew Barzal scoring, and then 2 quick goals in 20 seconds by Bo Horvat, and voila, the New York Islanders pull away with a 7-3 win over the Columbus Blue Jackets. This is the kind of game this team needed. It's the kind of finish this team needed. They needed to prove not so much to the fans, but to themselves that they were capable of doing this. And you want to look at the numbers here. The top line: Bo Horvat, Anders Lee, Mathew Barzal. Between them, Horvat +4, Lee +4, Barzal +3. Barzy, 2 goals, 4 points. Horvat, 2 goals, 3 points. It doesn't get too much better than that. And, who led the Islanders in shots on goal in this game? Anders Lee. So he had 6. We want to add another player to the mix who quietly had a pretty good game. How about Mike Riley? He had an assist. He had 5 shots on goal in this game, 2 hits. And credit Alexander Romanov, 6 blocked shots. Again, all the little elements that you wanted, all the lines getting involved. Cal Clutterbuck had a goal, which was very, very big to see. Kyle Palmieri with a goal. Pierre Engvall with a goal. Yeah, shock of shocks, the only line that really did not have a goal, the Pajot line. But again, that third line didn't play poorly. They just didn't create a lot offensively. And overall, the Islanders proved to themselves that they are capable of scoring in the third period and holding a lead in the third period, and maybe, just maybe, exorcising some of the ghosts that have haunted this team in third periods this season to actually come out ahead and extend the lead. And not just that, but to bounce back after you give up a goal in the first minute and a half of the period, where it would have been so easy to say, oh boy, here we go again, deja vu all over again, we're in trouble now. No, the Islanders bounce back, earn the W, and hopefully help this team turn a corner. Now, look, you got to do it more than once. You got to do it consistently. But you know what? Even the longest journey begins with one step. And this was that step. And overall, this was a very solid performance. You had a power play goal by Kyle Palmieri, a player you really wanted to get back onto the score sheet. So that was a positive. 4 of your 6 defensemen had an assist in this game, with only Ryan Pollock and Alexander Romanov not having a point in this game. And it just, everything seemed to click. You got a solid performance from Semyon Varlamov. This is the kind of game the Islanders needed to play. And yeah, there were some breakdowns. I mean, look, first off, a couple of the goals given up, some bad bounces, puck coming right to Adam Fantilli, who, by the way, he had a couple of goals in this game for Columbus. And an assist. If you haven't noticed, Adam Fantilli, rookie, this kid is the real deal, and he is going to be outstanding. But, overall, the Islanders just get the job done. Everybody participating in this victory. And yeah, there were still some defensive breakdowns, still some things this team needs to work on. But hey, this is professional hockey. Both teams get paid. This is, you're going to have times in a game where you're being outplayed, but how do you respond to it? The Islanders responded to it well, end up with the win. And boy, oh boy, did this team need it. So, gotta say, I am happy to see the Islanders get the job done, and to see them finish off a team that's well below them in the standings, a team that you are expected to beat at home, and actually come through and get that done. Islanders winning it 7-3, and it felt so good to see this team get this done, because they haven't done it in so long. So Islanders win it and make a lot of their fans either happy or relieved, or I would have to say a little bit of both. And boy, oh boy, was that important. All right, we have got more to get to on today's show. We will have our hero and GOAT of the game, so make sure you join us for that. Something to look forward to. We have a look ahead at the Islanders-Kings game on Saturday, including why that game is going to be a very, very tough game for the New York Islanders. We'll discuss that. And we will have our Islanders birthday of the day, another pretty obscure one, a player who played only 6 games for the Islanders during 2014-2015, a forward with one of the more difficult names to pronounce in Islanders history. Let's see if you can guess who that is. We've got all that and more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. And with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league, including the NHL. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Time now for our hero and GOAT of the game. And the hero is easy in my mind. Mathew Barzal, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points, a +3, 5 shots on goal in the game. The top line, by the way, the 3 of them, 14 shots combined. Not bad. Even 2 blocked shots for Barzy, which, you like to see it, but you don't want your best offensive forward to get hurt blocking a shot, but glad to see him willing, at least, to sacrifice the body. I mean, Bo Horvat, 2 goals in 20 seconds. He's second on this list, but Barzy has got to be number 1. And offensively, at least, Mathew Barzal on top of his game right now, playing some really good hockey, and that is really good to see. And you know what? No giveaways officially by Mathew Barzal in this game. Go to the game. This one is tough. Only a couple of players were minus in this game as far as plus minus. All the defensemen were either plus or even. So it was really just Holmstrom, Cizikas, and Gauthier who had -1s in this game. It is really hard to pick a GOAT in this game. So, I guess, no, I really can't find somebody who, should be the GOAT of this game. This was a solid team effort. A couple of the goals came off bad bounces. Yeah, a couple of them came off defensive breakdowns as well. But was there one player you really want to shine the spotlight on as far as doing poorly? No, not really. Question that's out there, though. Sebastian Aho. He is hopefully coming back soon. We don't know whether he'll be available Saturday. Who do you sit? It's probably going to be Samuel Bolduc. That is my guess, although Boldy playing pretty well. 16 minutes, 49 seconds in this game for Bolduc. I would think Bolduc sits. Riley probably continues, but it'll be interesting to see how the Islanders approach this when all is said and done. Now, little bit of news that came out on late Wednesday, and I waited to try to see if we can get a little more information on it before I discussed it on the show, but no more information is forthcoming right now. But the news is this: Scott Malkin, co-owner of the Islanders, and kind of, the more of the silent partner, the guy who is not interacting with the fans all the time. That's John Ledecky's job, so to speak. But Malkin selling 10% of his stake in the team, and the value to this buyer who remains unidentified. And that's why I kind of waited till today to discuss this, because I was hoping that we would find out who the new part owner is. But 10% of Malkin's stake in the Islanders goes to this unidentified buyer for $1.75 billion. That is an unbelievable price to pay. So, look, Malkin is still the majority owner of the team. The team, incidentally, in 2016, when Ledecky and Malkin took over control from Charles Wang's estate, took over from Charles Wang back in 2016 and then purchased the rest of the team from his estate 5 years later. But they bought the team for, or the team was valued at a little less than $500 million. And to sell 10% of Malkin's share for $1.75 billion tells you just how much this team's value has gone up since UBS Arena was opened. And obviously there's real estate attached to that, and that's not all complete, but very, very interesting. And look, John Collins, the chief operating officer, he also invested in the team back in June over the summer. We don't know the details of that sale either, as far as how much time, how much of a percentage he got and what it was worth and all of that. But right now, Malkin giving up 10% of his share, and it will be interesting to see how this affects things going forward, who the new owner or minority owner is, and whether or not this affects the day-to-day running of the team in any way. I am leaning toward the idea that in the short run, this isn't going to change much of anything. It's going to be business as usual for the New York Islanders. But in the long run, since this is the second sale of a stake in this team in the last 6 months, it is very possible that we see some other sale in the future. And again, when you start to add all of this up, maybe we'll get an idea as to the direction that the ownership is going in and what can be done, as far as the day-to-day operations of the team. Who's the decision maker going to be? That really is the key for fans. And that is sort of the question we don't know yet. But hopefully we find that information out very soon, because let's face it, you want to know who's doing what when it comes to your hockey team. All right. We have got a lot more to get to on today's show. We have our Islanders birthday of the day, plus Saturday. The Islanders face a unique challenge when they face the LA Kings at home. We'll talk about that challenge and what it is and whether or not the Islanders have what it takes to overcome it. All that and more still to come on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Jace Medical. And look, I know that we come to sports to escape from some of the crazy realities of real life, but can we talk for just a minute about preparing for real life? According to the FDA, pharmacies are running out of antibiotics like amoxicillin right in the middle of the worst flu season in over a decade. That is scary. I can't imagine a more helpless feeling than if one of my family members or one of my kids got sick while a supply chain issue kept them from life-saving medication. Thankfully, we'll be okay because of Jace Medical. The Jace case is a pack of 5 different antibiotics to treat a long list of bacterial and illnesses, including UTIs, respiratory infections, skin infections, among others. This stuff could happen to any of us. Visit jacemedical.com and complete your physician encounter. It will be reviewed by a board-certified physician, and your medications will be dispensed by a licensed pharmacy at a fraction of the regular cost. It's never been more important to be prepared than today, so go to jacemedical.com and offer up code LOCKEDON to get $20 off your first order. That's jasemedical.com and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first order. Once again, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows that cover every league, including the NHL. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. The Islanders facing the LA Kings Saturday at UBS Arena. Face-off coming up at 7:30 usual time. Keep in mind, you can hear every minute of this game with the Islanders' hometown radio broadcast on SiriusXM, on the SXM app. Just do a search for Islanders. But the Kings, I'll tell you, they are a team that presents a lot of challenges. They are in second place right now in the Pacific Division, although they're 4 points behind Vegas with, 4 games in hand, 16-4-3 on the year. They have given up fewer goals than anyone else, although, again, they haven't played as many games. But still, they're defense and goaltending have been outstanding. Cam Talbot right now, a 1.96 goals against average and a .930 save percentage. And that was before he was in goal for a 4-0 shutout against the Montreal Canadiens in Montreal last night. So he is just playing extremely solid hockey in goal. And their penalty kill right now, second in the league, 88.4%. Again, that number before the shutout win over the Habs. The power play, middle of the road. Goals scored, they're sixth. So if you're sixth in goals scored and first in goals against, you're going to win a lot of hockey games. But here's the challenge. In 23 games, the LA Kings have played 12 home games. They are 5-4-3. They've played 11 road games. They have won all 11. They're 11-0-0. That is a new record in the NHL as far as most consecutive road wins to start a season. And can the Islanders overcome this team that just really does a great job on the road, game in and game out? Adrian Kempe leading the team with 23 points heading into the game against Montreal. Trevor Moore has 12 goals. He has 21 points. Anze Kopitar, a very familiar name, 10 goals, 21 points. And Kevin Fiala, 21 points as well. 6 of them goals, 15 assists. This team is a good mix of veterans and youth. They are balanced, and they are very, very good defensively. The Islanders will have their hands full with this Kings team. The line combinations for the Kings, Kopitar, Quentin Byfield, and Adrian Kempe are the top line. Philip Deneau, Kevin Fiala, and Trevor Moore, the second trio. And then from left to right on the third line, Carl Gunstrom, Pierre-Luc Dubois, and Alex Lafreniere. The fourth line, Blake Lizotte, centering Trevor Lewis and Arthur Kaliev. On defense, Mikey Anderson and Drew Doughty are the top pairing. Vladislav Gavrikov and Matt Waugh are the second pair, and Andreas Englund and Jordan Spence are the third pair. The goalies, Cam Talbot and Phoenix Copley. Right now, Victor Arvidsson and Tobias Bjornfo on IR. They are unavailable. But it'll be interesting to see how Lane Lambert approaches this game. Because do you try to gamble and open things up because the Islanders, know it's difficult to score against the LA Kings, so you put more pressure? Or do you play a little bit more conservatively and try to win 2-1? Tough choices coming up. Knowing Lane Lambert, it's going to be full speed ahead. But again, a tough nut to crack if it's Talbot, if it's Copley. He's still playing fairly well, but nowhere near as well as Cam Talbot. A tough challenge ahead for the New York Islanders, and we all have to hope that they are equal to the task. No former Islanders on this roster, so nothing to look at in that respect. But boy, for a team that the Islanders only see a couple of times a year and are not that familiar with, this is going to be a challenge to face the LA Kings. And you know what? If you become the first team in the NHL to beat the Kings when they're on the road, you can be proud of that. That is another thing that the Islanders could build on after that strong third period they had against the Blue Jackets last night. The question is, can they do it? And we'll see how the team responds to this particular challenge on Saturday night. Again, 7:30 Eastern time start. You can catch every minute of the Islanders' hometown radio broadcast on SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just do a search for Islanders. Time now for our Islanders birthday of the day. And Saturday is going to be just the 36th birthday of former Islanders winger Cale Molirat. And the Edmonton, Alberta native is actually still active in hockey, playing in Germany these days. Went to Minnesota State at Mankato for 4 years, bounced around the minors, was not drafted, but made his NHL debut with the Isles in 2014, 2015. Spent most of the year in Bridgeport, scored 24 goals and 50 points for the then Bridgeport Sound Tigers, but came up, played 6 games for the Islanders, had a goal, 2 points, and 8 penalty minutes. But there is clearly one game out of the 6 that was his best game as an Islander. February 24th, 2015, at the Nassau Coliseum. Islanders hosting the Arizona Coyotes. Mike Smith, the goalie for the Coyotes. Chad Johnson for the Islanders. And in this game, Cale Molirat ends up with his first NHL point, assisting on a goal by Matt Martin early in the third period. And then a little less than 4 minutes later, his first NHL goal. This one coming at 7:16 of the third. Colin McDonald and Nikolai Kulemin with the assist. A goal and an assist for Cale Molirat. He was a +2 in this game, and believe it or not, got the goal on his only shot, had 10 minutes and 42 seconds of ice time. And those 2 points were his only career NHL points. He played one more game in the NHL with the Penguins the following year, then went to Sweden and Germany, where he continues to play to this day. So happy 36th birthday to Edmonton native Cale Molirat. He is our Islanders' birthday of the day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Everydayers, we will be back on Monday. We'll have our key takeaways from the game against the Kings, and we'll prepare you for Monday night's home game against some guy named Tavares and the Toronto Maple Leafs. So back-to-back challenging games for the Islanders, and make sure you join us for that. Until then, have a great weekend, everybody. Happy Hanukkah to all those who are celebrating, and stay safe. And of course, let's go Islanders.